What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am back again with, you know who it is, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am the same as I was, as I always am. Infinitely awesome, sir. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I am doing excellent.
Yeah, I noticed that one too. See that? That little pause is for dramatic effect. That you use it, I use a great one. I was just like, wait for it. Wait for it.
It's extremely dramatic. It's just like, okay.
Okay. Like, what is he waiting for? He's waiting. Why is he waiting?
Go ahead and go grab me about to eat. Come back.
Yeah, get the file, go to the restroom. Oh, I got time. I'll go repark the car, get it in the lines. Valet,
We'll get it detailed.
Well, depends on where you go.
Come back, you still just...
Is he glitched? I think he's frozen. He's glitched up. That's why there's a glitch here. I can see him breathing. Nope. Just dramatic effect.
Just dramatic effect. But
this
has been a long time coming. Not this episode.
Not this episode.
But the show that we're talking about has been a long time coming. You want to talk about pause for dramatic effect? We're talking about 30, almost 30 years.
That's a huge. You could live a whole lifetime with that type of dramatic effect.
Almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Since the end of season 5 to now, X-Men 97.
Oh, wow. Let's just take a moment right there.
We want to take a moment. While you all take a moment and take in what we're about to dive into, just remember that this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpowered movies, TV shows, even trailers. We watch them, we react to them, we break them down, we review them, and we ask the question, is it super?
Could it be? Or is it? Is it not? Could it possibly, potentially be?
Maybe. Ugh. We'll find out. But if you like that, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us and follow us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
Y'all know it's an algorithm thing, so you got to do all these things. You got to hit thumbs up, you got to subscribe, you got to leave a comment, you got to join the secret ATS group.
You got to learn the secret handshake.
What? It starts with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got to come with it. If you're a real true fan, then you know. If not, then
be
welcome.
A part of the super secret fan club.
There you go. Where you get early access to whatever we figure out you need early access to. We'll figure that out. You'll get it early.
You'll get it early.
X-Men 97, like you said.
So let's talk about the theme since we brought it up. So
yeah,
of course the theme isn't the same as the theme in the original run of the first 5 seasons. Honestly,
it's not. I'm Your Baby Tonight by Whitney Houston. It's not that.
No, it's not.
I'm your baby tonight.
I know what you mean, but no, that's not what it is.
Okay. Well, I thought that, you know.
But no, I went back and I watched the original 5 seasons on Disney Plus because
we could have did a rewatch. That could have been early access.
You know how many episodes? There was like 70 something episodes.
Yeah, that's when you had a season. A real just 8 episode nonsense they got going on.
Yeah, you're talking about at least 20 episodes. Well, it's averaging at least 20 episodes a season.
30 years ago, that's when it was living, boy. You had good Saturday morning
cartoon.
An epilogue.
But no, because of course, doing a bit of research going into it, and because I hadn't seen it since it was on TV, and back then it was, once it was off, unless you
that's
VHS, you
Yeah.
know, and I
Or
don't even
recorded it
know
off
if
the
it went to
TV.
VHS.
You know what? That's a missed opportunity. If it
But
didn't, there should have been a Blu-ray.
they could have remastered it and put it on Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure it would have
Is
sold a
is
lot of
is
them.
is this a situation that was like, oh yeah, it was Fox.
Yeah.
So you know they didn't know what they were doing.
Well, you
What?
can't
They
say
got
that.
bought out.
They
Wait,
did get
yeah,
bought out.
they didn't know what they were doing. Disney didn't get bought out. Not
No.
yet.
Well, I wouldn't
Not
even put a
yet.
yet on that.
Not yet.
I can't
Uh,
imagine what superpower would come and be able to buy out Disney.
Apple. I'm just saying, George Lucas got bought out.
Yeah.
Lucasfilms was huge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a check all at once. He took installments.
That's
Just
the
to
way you
let you
do it.
guys know.
Make money for the rest of your life.
There you go.
But so I went back and I watched it, and there was a big change between season 4 and season 5.
Oh yeah, the animation style dropped
The animation
tremendously.
quality dropped. You lost a couple of the original voice actors because what happened
Yeah.
was when season 4 wrapped up, they thought they were done. But then they got greenlit for season 5, and a lot of the animators had moved on to different projects. They had other commitments. Same with the actors, they had different commitments. So you had some changes in the voice, but yeah, there was a big drop in animation quality for that final season, and it's
I thought you were gonna play the Wakanda Forever drums when you said the animators moved on to do other stuff.
no,
Okay.
no, but no, and it's just funny watching it back, you know, after all these years and seeing everything back to back and you seeing the different changes. And I believe I want to say between season 3 and season 4 there was a change in the theme song, in the musicality of the theme song. Not necessarily that the theme song was different per se, but the riffs were a little bit different. It wasn't the same notes. There were like additional instruments added in season 4 moving on, and now here we are under X-Men 97. The theme song in spirit is still the same, but it's not the same as what it was in the first run of the series. But of course it's still iconic, it's still good, you can't beat it. One of the greatest theme songs for any show, period, animated or live action. One of the greatest theme songs that's ever been created.
Agreed. That's it. That's all I have to say. Agreed with everything that you just said. Agreed. But now, what do you think about the new one?
The new
Does
one,
it hold up?
it
Does it
holds up.
surpass? Oh,
It
okay.
does not. I won't say that it surpasses, but it holds up. It definitely holds up. It's right there in line with the original, but you know, there's always that nostalgic factor that hits with the original that I don't think can be replaced by anything.
Well, when you knock it out the park the first time, it's hard to double down and knock it out the park again because you already knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
But I think they knocked it out the park because of what you said, the extra nostalgia that you get on top of it. But here's the remix because we now have some new additions into the intro.
Yeah.
Not only visually different, additions different. Because we now see Storm now has a mohawk versus the whole full 80s hair that she had. Everybody had big hair back then.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, huge hair and huge shoulder pads and like it was a different time, you know? But now it's like sleek, updated. Storm has this mohawk. Rogue is not as sexualized, which
yes.
I guess
I mean, I would say
thing.
all the female characters are not as sexualized.
Well, I think that was one of the things that made this animation stand out. That and the fact that it dealt with adult themes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dealing with bigotry, we're dealing with hate, we're dealing with, racism, all in a mutant story. These people are not doing anything to become mutants. They're born mutants.
Right.
Puberty kicks in and their mutant power manifests. It's an X gene inside of their DNA. Brought on by the male, which we learned in the movies. Kind of like, the passing of the torch in a sense. But
Oh man.
I didn't say it.
No. I'm just thinking back to, just the allegory for, just everything, like you said, about the bigotry, about the, closed mindedness about it all and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
with X2, there's a scene in
Mm-hmm.
X2 where the kids have to escape the mansion because Stryker's coming and he's trying to capture Wolverine.
This is true.
And so Wolverine, Bobby Drake, who's Iceman,
Iceman.
Pyro, Rogue, they escape. The only place that they can think to go to for any type of assistance is to
Mm-hmm. Bobby's
Bobby's
house.
house. And
Yeah.
so in the comics, Iceman is he's homosexual. And with the sort of the allegory of a gay child, or a non-heterosexual child,
Yeah.
coming out to their parents, and the parents not necessarily being as understanding or as accepting. We get
This is
that
true.
scene where they're at the house and they're talking about the reveal that Bobby's a mutant, Wolverine, Rogue, Pyro, they're all mutants. And then the mom is
Mm-hmm.
like, well, have you ever tried not being a mutant? And it's just like,
Right.
people are in denial that their child may
That's
be gay. And it's like, well, it's just
crazy.
a phase. Have you just tried
Yeah.
not being gay?
Yeah. You can only light your hands up now. Yeah, that'll go away when you're 21. Like,
Right.
it's okay. We all went through
But yeah,
it.
and it's so weird to me because when the trailer dropped for X-Men 97, of course, and we've talked about this before when we're talking about the Marvels, how you have this vocal minority
Uh-huh.
of they want to call themselves fans,
Yes.
and they're like, we saw in the trailer there was the whole the riot, well, not the riot, but the protesters outside with the signs, no mutants, mutants suck, we hate mutants, all this other kind of stuff. And so people saw the trailer and they were like, oh, X-Men's gone woke. They're talking about,
Huh?
they're showcasing these protests and talking about mutant oppression, and they're just trying to be liberal, PC, trying to do all of this other kind of stuff. And it's like, did you watch
Watch
the
any
original
of the
the
X-Men?
original run of X-Men animated series? Did you read any of the X-Men comics? Because
Right.
there was a very big portion of the original series where they were trying to accuse the mutants of getting people sick. They
Yes.
manufactured a technological virus to
Yes.
infect people, and
Yes.
they were
That's what Cable
blaming
was
it on the
suffering with.
mutants so mutants could
Yes.
be persecuted. And it's like, this is stuff that's happened in real life.
Yeah, it's
There's
almost
been
like CSI.
there's
Is it
been
CSI? What type of show that
multiple
is that use the real
instances
cases?
of people being racist against a certain ethnicity, saying, "Oh, I don't want you around me because you have
You're a
X,
dirty
Y,
mutant.
Z, and you're gonna get me sick." This, I
Yeah.
mean, is this happened in 2020 with COVID, and with the whole perpetuation that because COVID came from China, then that means that all Asian people, are carrying the disease, and you had this
Yeah. There was
large,
hate crimes
yeah,
being
there was this
carried out.
huge uptick of hate crimes against Asian people. And and it just got fueled more and more by this xenophobic rhetoric of you're just trying to hate against an entire ethnicity. And this is exactly what's going on in X-Men. So for you to say, oh, well, X-Men is going woke, it's like you don't understand. First of all, you don't understand what's going on in the world. Second of all, you don't understand the source material for X-Men. And for you
I'll even
to,
say it even worse. Pre first, or pre all that, you don't really understand the definition of that word.
true, true. That
Or
that
you're
that's
using
that's the
it in the
beginning.
wrong
They
tense.
are using it
You're
in the
using it in the
wrong
wrong
sense,
context.
because and we're not gonna go down this rabbit hole
Why
of
not? We're
this.
already here.
I know, but I don't want the whole episode to be about this, because
I'm here for carrots now,
that's
since there's a rabbit hole. There has to be carrots down here somewhere. Let's
the,
grow a garden.
the entire episode will be us, dissecting the whole woke, so-called woke
Uh-uh.
agenda.
Nuh-uh, because again, do your research. If you went back and looked at how many hours was that? How long did it take you to binge watch 5 seasons?
Oh, I mean, that was over a span of weeks. I mean, just
Oh,
because of other responsibilities and
oh,
priorities
well,
and stuff.
they're not gonna do that. They gotta hate on something,
Yeah.
so that's gonna cut into their hate time.
Well, I
So
mean, that what they do is they just hate on it without actually watching it.
that's what I'm saying. If you will go back and watch it, you would know that you're way off base.
Right.
But people do stuff for clickbait all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look at us. We put X-Men 97 on our thumbnail.
I mean, it's not clickbait if that's what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, that is what we're talking about. But we also talk about whatever else we want.
That's very true.
That's why you're going about this rant. It's like, well, why they don't just talk about X-Men? We talk about what we want. This is our show. Well, we love y'all though.
But no, and we get to pick up, and that's what I loved about it, is that we pick up almost exactly where we left off. We leave off at the end of season 5, and again talking about the persecution of mutants and humans wanting to, or a certain group of humans wanting to make the mutants look worse than what they actually are.
Right.
Henry Gyrick attacked Professor X and shot him. I forget what he shot him with, but
With a remote control.
Was it a remote control?
No, it was some type of gun that neutralized his powers, or which we see they somehow perfected, because again, that's what they shoot Storm with.
Yeah. Well, what it is that I don't think that it might have been a prototype of what they were using now, but because we know that they had the power dampening collars that we first saw them when they went to the island of Genosha. Because way back in season 1, Genosha was being advertised as a haven for mutants,
Right.
which is what it became eventually, because once
Right.
Magneto took it over, that's what it was. But it was being advertised as a haven for mutants, but what it really was an internment camp. It was a labor camp. They were capturing mutants, they were dampening their powers and preventing them from using them, and using them to build a facility for the master mold so they could make more sentinels. But so with the technology that they had for the power dampening collars, they were able to weaponize it, and we saw that they used that against Storm and effectively took away her powers. Will she get them back? We don't know. She had to be determined.
Now wait a minute. I'm glad you asked that question, and I'm glad you did your due. See, this is why y'all love Spider, because he do like deep research. But in that 5 seasons of watching the X-Men, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Storm lose her powers before?
I think she did.
If
I remember correctly, for like maybe an episode or two.
Yeah, and she went back to Africa and she got in touch with her powers, and then she came back like Omega. But now she's Omega and she's losing her powers. Will she come back bigger?
I don't know if you can really be any stronger than an Omega level mutant.
We should hope not, because wasn't the Phoenix higher than Omega level? I mean, since we're in Marvel, Wanda is technically higher than Omega level.
As a Nexus being, right? So I guess that would be, well, I guess that's not necessarily a classification of a mutant. That's just a classification.
Well, they're trying to say she's a mutant. She's the daughter of Magneto.
Yeah, but
her and Quicksilver.
The Phoenix entity in and of itself is not a mutant. Phoenix took over Jean, who was a mutant.
Yes.
Jean is an Omega level mutant.
Yes.
But having the Phoenix assimilate with her.
Ooh, y'all see he used that word properly?
I don't know if I used it properly. It could have been a wrong word.
He didn't say woke.
I didn't say woke.
Yeah, he didn't say had the Phoenix Force woke Jean. That's what I'm going to say.
But no, I think a Nexus being can cover just any entity. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mutant. But Omega level, I think there's a classification for mutants only.
Interesting. She may come back at the same level. She may come back higher, because we don't know. We're in uncharted territories. X-Men has so many comic books that they can go in an infinite amount of storylines, but yet still they may decide to take their own path. Like you said, we got a lot of the voice actors back. Some of the writers are back, working with new writers. And they did exactly like you did, Spider. They actually went back to source, which the X-Men were based off the civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Magneto and Professor Xavier are based off of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X
Right.
on how to coincide in this world when racism was at its highest, if not the highest or the highest point in that time towards black people, black and brown people, I should say.
Yeah.
So for you to say it's woke, it's clearly you don't know what you're talking about. But at the same time, we get that here, and it was a great depiction of it. And not saying it was black or brown people, but more in a palatable, digestible way because you still, in a sense, have it even in these first two episodes because you have X-Men and you have mutants that can walk amongst the city
Mm-hmm.
because they look like humans, but you also have mutants like the Morlocks
Right.
who are disfigured that can't walk amongst the city because they're mutant deformed. They live in the sewers. And
In the final episode of the original run of X-Men, the final episode of season 5, when Professor X got attacked, one of the mutants, I forget what his name was, but the reason that he wanted to revolt is because he said, here you have a mutant who looks like everybody else. He's been ingratiated with everybody. He's been living amongst the humans, and they still, didn't give him the respect as being another human, being another, mortal person. Still didn't give him common decency, common respect. So it's like, if he doesn't have a chance, Professor X, who is a wealthy person, who, if nobody else really knew, they would just think that he's another human. He just happens to be in a very futuristic wheelchair, to say it's the 90s.
You got a hover chair.
But I mean, that's what money gets you.
Hey, do you think that Kane stole his chair design from Professor Xavier? Kane the Conqueror? Because he has a chair too that hovers through time. Just go ahead and drop that seed right there and going back to the
don't believe
back
so.
to, I'm just saying. There's
But
a lot of stuff that goes on that we don't know about.
I mean, you get to see the frustration, right? You get to understand, like, we are living this life where we just want to be left alone. We just want to live our life in peace, just like everybody wants to live their life in peace. But if the mutants,
okay,
but if
you were talking about black people,
I mean,
us too, just leave us alone.
But if, like it was saying, if Charles, who is human passing, doesn't have a chance, then what chance do the rest of us have? So there's really nothing for us to do but stand up for ourselves and let them know that we're not to be messed with. And so if it wasn't for the X-Men, and going to Magneto and letting him know that Charles was, dying, because he wasn't technically dead, or he didn't technically die. He was still alive when Lilandra, took him away for the Shi'ar medicine.
But keep in mind, Spider, at that point in time, Magneto was kind of sick of humanity, and he was ready to throw wipe us all off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Well, them off the face of.
Yeah, he was ready to start throwing bows.
Drop bows.
But like I said, if it wasn't for the X-Men going there and telling him, letting him know that Professor X was dying, he would have went through with it, and it would have been just like X3, The Last Stand, where he's just taking all of these mutants in there, launching this assault on civilization.
He also ripped the Golden Gate Bridge off his fillers and used it as a tax.
Completely unnecessary.
It really was. Like, all y'all could have put a little belt buckle on it with metal on it, and I could have just zipped y'all over there. Right. But sometimes you got to show off.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen. Sometimes you got to let them know that Gandalf is in you.
Because I mean, think about it. If that movie was still canon, and they didn't have Days of Future Past where they retconned everything that happened in the original X-Men trilogy movies,
that's a smart thing to do. And then they
like
messed it up right after.
San Francisco is just, you know, fucked for years because you think about how
What do you
long it would
mean?
take to rebuild the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh my God! There's jobs for years. That's it's gonna take some time. You know that thing can withstand an earthquake.
Mm-hmm. That's the way they built it.
That's apparently they can't withstand a magnetic force to rip it
No,
off its film.
I mean that's just a completely different force entirely. But even beyond all of that, I want to go back to talking about Storm being an Omega level mutant. Well,
Okay.
not even just that, just the characterization of the X-Men in X-Men 97 now, as opposed to the way that their characters were portrayed in the original run of the series, because we get some really big action scenes in these first 2 episodes.
Yeah, we do.
And
well, we get it in the trailer.
Yeah, we get it in the
because when they
but...
show Rogue flipping the Sentinel over, it is more action. It's more frames. It's more action packed now than it was before. Before she used to just flip them over.
Right.
Then in this remake, you could tell that they actually went into a little more detail about it.
They
you see her actually jump,
incorporated physics into it.
Yeah, so she jumped and she grabs. Well, she has the Sentinel tentacles.
Yeah,
I think we could call them that, right? Tentacles.
Yeah.
So she grabs it and jumps, and you can see the slack that she flips it over.
Yeah, like way. You can actually see the effort in her pulling it, and there's like weight behind it. So when she's slamming it, no,
there's even a part that they show her like gritting her teeth, like,
and it's just the improvement on the animation quality improvement on animation quality, because like we said, it's been almost 30 years, so of course things have improved, but them adding,
but they went down on a low note though, so they set the bar way low so we can come back high in 30 years.
Yeah, but I mean, that was, like we said, different circumstances of the way that Fox handled the last season of it. But like you said, with the writers and now the animators and the storyboard artists and the showrunners and everything, these are people who are fans of the show. You can always tell when you have a product being made by people who love the source material. Because I mean, you take a look at Deadpool, right? Ryan Reynolds said that he had been trying for years to make that movie because this is a character that he inherently loves, and so you can see the attention paid to the way that the movies have been made and how he portrays Deadpool, and the way that those stories are formulated. And we can see in X-Men 97, like, these are people who really care about these characters. Because I remember when I was going back and watching the original run of the series with Cyclops. Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men.
Yeah,
Cyclops
is not anymore, but he is.
Well, he's the leader of, I would say he's the leader of the operations team. I'll put it that way.
He's the leader of the field team.
Yeah, he's the leader of the field team.
Well, that kind of makes you think, is Captain America the leader of the Avengers, or is it Nick Fury?
I mean, I would say Tony Stark is the leader of the Avengers, but
he said he's not.
Well, he just say he pays for everything and makes everything look good. But we know that, I mean, if it wasn't for Tony Stark, there wouldn't be any Avengers. Because he was the first approached for the Avengers Initiative.
No, he wasn't.
Was he not?
For the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah, for the Avengers Initiative, he was the first approach.
Until they retcon it, yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure they will.
Oh, you're talking about if they retcon it.
Yeah, if they retcon it.
No, they're not going to retcon that.
I don't know. They threw Captain Marvel in the 90s.
Yeah, but they didn't. That was, he created the Avengers Initiative because after he realized that there are extraterrestrial threats.
Right.
And so that's not to say that he was inviting her to be a part of the Avengers. So
no, she wasn't going to stay anyway. She has commitment issues.
Yeah, but it was still that Tony was the first approached. But you take a look at the way that Cyclops got treated in the original run of the series,
like a dork. I think that's the episode Wolverine walks up and punches him in the stomach.
But it's, I will say that in the animated show, he got treated a whole lot better than he did in the movies. Because in the
Oh
movies,
yeah.
they didn't give, even though that Cyclops supposed to be the leader of the field team, Cyclops
Yeah.
in the 2000s X-Men movies didn't get shit to do. And then they just killed him off in the third one for no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
But in the animated,
here's a question I'm gonna have to ask you, Spider, since we're talking about it.
mm-hmm.
Can we talk about this inconsistency with the eye the trigger, the Cyclops for his visor? Does he have to touch it or doesn't he have to touch it? He's been consistently touching it throughout the show for the fight scenes, but when he was falling out of this plane, he did not touch it. He's just like,
because
I'm gonna let it go.
I think that is the measure of how much he releases at once. Because if he doesn't, I'm assuming that there's some type of,
I'm going,
dial or something on the side to where when he touches it
makes sense.
he can like do like quick little bursts, or he can
it's like
a
little
bit.
like a little flip.
Yeah.
I got one of those in my glasses that I can just see and then I can't see at all.
But if he doesn't like make any modifications or adjustments to it, then it goes. So maybe, I don't know. But can we talk about how badass that landing was though?
Oh, but even before then.
Yeah, even
when he used his beam to move around the room.
Oh no, was that the same episode?
Yes, because we're merging them together. So I'm going to say yes.
Yes, because they had to go find out where they were getting the Sentinel tech from, and that's what brought them to the desert.
Yes, there you go.
But no, yeah, you're absolutely right, because that's what I wanted to get to, because in the original run of the series, literally just about every time Jean and Cyclops left the mansion to go on a date, to go do something, Cyclops was getting his ass handed to him every single rip. Every time they went somewhere, because Jean was getting abducted, Cyclops was getting his ass beat. And when Mr. Sinister called him, Cyclops got his ass beat. When Mojo was after him, Cyclops got his ass beat. When they were down with the Morlocks, and I forget what the leader of the Morlocks name was, when she wanted to keep Cyclops so he can, they could rule the Morlocks together, he got his ass beat down there too. Yeah. And it's just like almost every single time, Cyclops as the leader, like he's supposed to be the most qualified to be able to lead the X-Men, but he's just getting his ass beat every single time. No respect.
Wolverine made his car convertible in the movie. Wolverine stole his bike. Like, it's like, you're not the leader of me.
Right. But here now in X-Men 97, like you say, we get that scene where Cyclops comes in and he's
more than capable.
He's coming to save what's his name? Nico DaCosta, I think.
Yeah, that's him.
And so Cyclops comes in, and his whole demeanor is a bit different, because in the original one he was very, stiff, very stuck up, very by the book, type, and that's why I guess he was like a good counterpoint to Wolverine's bad boy. It was like the good guy that gets the girl versus the bad boy that she's like secretly lusting after and all this other kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, in X-Men 97, Cyclops, he's got this swagger about him, because he just walks in and Nico is like, are you a good guy or a bad guy? And Cyclops just kind of walks up, definitely good guy, and he just goes ham. Like you said, using his percussive blast to like back himself up, to like spin himself around, and it's like we never got to see this side of Cyclops
at all.
And he just, I don't know, he just made it. I think they finally did Cyclops justice, because I don't think he's ever been done justice in any other iteration outside of the comics. Like, people who know the comics and they've read the comics, they know what Cyclops is capable of.
He's the leader of the X-Men.
Right. And he's the leader for a reason. And we just never got to see that in any other medium. And I'm just so appreciative that they allowed him to be in that lead, like allowed him to be able to showcase how much he's capable of and how tactical he can be without, Logan or Gambit just basically saying, "You don't run me," and they just go do their own thing.
Here's the thing that I appreciate. Even though everything that you just said is true, the fact that they paired that up with the fact that he still has struggles,
Mm-hmm.
second guessing himself with leading the team, second guessing himself if he can live up to the expectations of the professor, of not knowing exactly where to take the direction of the team, struggling with the idea of, hey, because his wife is saying this baby's coming, we may have to leave this
Right.
life
We
behind.
lead a very dangerous life, and it's not conducive to raising a child.
And, just as you're coming to grips with all of this idea of leadership and all of this living up to the expectations that the professor had for you, you being one of the founding members of the X-Men team, just as you're getting a grasp of it all, just as the professor is gone and you are stepping up to take the lead, your woman's like, yeah, we need to just go ahead and walk away from all of this and raise our son and live happy. Like, because when does it end?
Right.
It's fun. Yeah, we fight bad guys, but at the same time, it's dangerous too. We could die, and I want to raise my kids. So now you're struggling with that.
Right.
You can't have one without having the other. And once you realize that, you now have a compelling character. So what he's struggling with is what yes. I can't just see you all the cool action scenes. Yes. 100%. When it's time to kick ass, you got to show us that you're the best at what you do.
Right.
But what are you dealing with? And having that essential something to grab onto, the latch onto, is how you keep people engaged.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for that, X-Men 97.
And I feel like we got to see that for most of the characters, because we get to see that internal struggle with Jean as well, because she and Storm have that conversation. She's like, does it make me a bad person that I wish that my child would be born human? Because then they won't have to deal with all the things that we deal with. They won't have to go through with all the things that we've been through. They will be able to just
the
live
racism, the
a normal life,
bigotry, the discrimination, the microaggressions.
and I love what Storm said. And she said that doesn't make you a bad person. That just makes you a mother. Because regardless of if you're mutant, human, alien, what have you, wanting the best for your children, wanting the best for your loved ones, wanting the best for your family, that's just,
it's not exclusive.
It's not exclusive to a specific species. That's just inherently that compassion. And then you have someone with, telepathic abilities like Jean, so she feels everybody's emotions.
Make you not want to go outside.
you just think that how much that affects her, how much it is affecting her. Of like the whole thing with the Phoenix Saga is that the Phoenix was an alien entity that did not understand the concept of human emotion. It got the thrill of being, I'll say bad, for lack of a better term, when we had the whole Dark Phoenix saga. And, it was the rush of that adrenaline and excitement of doing bad things and hurting people and, stuff like that. But when it came to the love that Jean had for Scott and how that overcame all of that, and it got the Phoenix to understand, it's like, I see now, this compassion that humanity shares and how it is one of the most powerful things. And she was able, Jean was able to gain the autonomy of her body back, because the Phoenix is like, I see now everything that I was doing was wrong. It wasn't right what I was doing, and I'm messing up this love that you have for this person. And so having those feelings, and then I love the fact that Storm called Jean her sister.
Mm,
Because that was one that's it's the relationship, like they've been there, as I'll say they are the two females that have been there the longest.
that's right.
And
This was
even though,
before your Kitty Pride. This was before your Jean. This was before your Emma Frost.
yeah, for all of them, but even though, this is supposed to be a school, it's supposed to be Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, we don't really see any students around the X Mansion.
Well, we didn't see many around the X Mansion then either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They refer to
Yeah,
it as a school, but we don't really get to see, like in the movies, you get to see like other
yeah.
kids in the mansion. But for the show, it's just really been the X-Men. But
I just want to
for
say this before you move on to to what you're about to say.
mm-hmm.
Both of those movies, iterations of the Phoenix story that you just explained, those are horrible. I'm just
Wait,
those were
which
bad.
ones?
Like it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
you talking about the movies?
Yeah,
Oh
they
yeah, both of them
didn't.
were horrible.
The fact that you said is very simple. The love that she had for Scott was how she was able to break the curse of the hold, the wokeness of the Phoenix Saga.
Right?
Hey, did I use that right?
No, absolutely not.
Of course, he didn't either. So that didn't translate in the movies at all. But I just wanted to
No,
go ahead and point that out. I'm not being negative. It's an observation.
no.
An
I,
astute
I think it's well understood that both X3 The Last Stand and X what is it called? X-Men
Yeah, and that's exactly it's
what's
the
it called? The
Phoenix.
Phoenix Saga?
Phoenix,
Dark
hey,
Phoenix.
Phoenix
That's what it
Force,
was.
Dark
Dark
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Yeah.
Hey, if you got somebody like Jennifer Lawrence saying, "Hey, just go ahead and kill me all," because
I don't want to be a part of this.
I don't know what y'all doing because she's not even important to the character story. Just go ahead and like,
Yeah.
and she was like,
But yeah, no, the movies absolutely they really butchered that story.
but now we're back to basics.
Yeah.
And
And
that's probably smart though to focus just on the core team initially. Maybe
yeah,
it'll be revealed later on that there are students, they're just not in camera.
yeah, because the original run we got to see, a whole bunch of other mutants that we would, come to know to be more commonly associated with the X-Men. We saw Emma Frost, we saw Colossus,
Yeah.
We
And
got
maybe
to
they
see
got the kids on a field trip.
it's just a long ass field trip.
Yeah, 2 days.
Well, we got to see Lone Star, we got to see, we saw Iceman in an episode. So, there's been plenty of other X-Men that we know from in the comics that showed up in the original run of the series in the original run of the series. So who knows who we'll be seeing just kind of pop up in X-Men 97.
Well, we
But
know Cable was going to be there at some point in time.
yeah,
But we got the addition of Bishops there,
right.
and Morph is back since season 5. Morph is back.
Yeah. Did Morph like really leave in season 5 or was that 4?
He got tired of the brainwashing and the manipulation before the Winter Soldier did. So he was like, I'm out. I gotta find myself.
Yeah.
I think that was more season 5.
Okay. Yeah, and so we also don't really get to see that return of Morph coming back to see where they, reunited with everybody.
Well, he just went and got a sandwich clearly because he's back now and he's been on the team for a hot minute. So
Right.
I don't know what type of sandwich it was. If you had to ask me, I think it was a Reuben, just because.
And that's another thing
which are
that
delicious.
the again, the vocal minority is complaining about with the show going woke because they have explicitly said that Morph identifies as non-binary. Morph is not not a he, not a she. They're them, and it makes sense.
How's that woke?
Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense because
between a man and a woman,
Morph can literally be anyone. So
it's morphing into something else,
right? And so, I mean, because you use the word pronouns, and people like, oh, that's considered to be woke if a person uses pronouns.
Oh,
or if a person,
because we're adapting a story to be more detail oriented than what it was originally. It woke you up to a thought process that you may not
Hey,
have
you say woke.
originally had. Oh, I can't use the word to define the word, right?
Right.
So you're now open to a reality that didn't exist. It always
It's not even that
exists.
it didn't exist, it's just it wasn't explicitly stated. And now that they're coming out and saying
Some
it
things that
outright.
was some things that what how does it say it? What's understood and shouldn't have to be explained, right?
Exactly.
He could morph. He could always morph between the man. Hey, if you want to be mad about something, remember at the end when Wolverine's sitting in a tree and he doesn't want to be bothered, and Morph comes out with beer and some snacks. And Wolverine kind of turns his head because he don't want to be bothered. Then Morph throws the snacks and hit him and turn around and hit him in the face.
And he turns into
And
Sabretooth and
and
they
he
just go
turns
at
into
it.
Sabretooth. Some may perceive that as a little homosexually. Now, if you want to be mad about something, you can be mad about that because you're clearly in a funk. But now I turn into somebody that's your nemesis or somebody that you really got beef with. Yeah, we could wrestle, we could tussle, we could play, and hey, next thing you know, it's morning. It's okay. He turned into a woman, or did he? I'm saying, don't be mad if they take something that you find sacred and really give you a reason to get upset. Because those cowboy hats that Logan wears are a bit tight. Just saying. That Stetson is snug on top of that head. That's
I
all
mean, he
I'm
does have a
saying.
lot of hair.
Hey, okay. Now
But
that'll break the internet right there. Well, why do you make Wolverine homosexual? Because
I don't
they're
know.
woke.
I don't even know. I don't know what Logan's sexuality is.
Well,
I mean, there are rumors that it's a bisexual thing. There are rumors of him, Jean, and Scott having like a whole throuple type thing. But
the way that Magneto talked about Charles to Rogue, that sounded sexual.
yeah, like it
So
was more than just a brotherly or familial love between the two of them.
I wish I could quit you.
Because I mean, you think about Magneto's motivation and how he was just hell bent on making sure that the mutant population rose above humanity because he felt that mutants were more advanced. Mutants are the next step in evolution. We
It does
are
make sense.
better than humans. And for him to give up that crusade because Charles wrote in his will that he wanted Magneto to lead the X-Men. I don't know if Charles knew that, if I ask him to do this, he'll do it. And that'll give him a new perspective, seeing firsthand how the X-Men operate, how they want to protect lives, how they save lives, no matter how the rest of humanity treats them. And maybe that will give him a newfound respect. Yeah, give them newfound respect for what they do and everything.
Right.
And we see that, of course, Scott has his reservations about it because we've been fighting Magneto for years.
Decades.
We've been
fighting 30
him
years. It was fighting all that time.
And so now he's supposed to just trust him to lead the X-Men. And, because that's what Professor X wanted. And
him struggling with that.
Right. And so, but and I love that they put this in the second episode where we get the scene where the UN Council or the World Council, or whatever that they call it, came after Magneto. It's like, okay, well, he's come out of hiding.
Yep, got him. We know exactly where he at.
We know you have committed crimes against humanity. You need to stand trial. And for them to come at him with the guns, and they're like, "Oh, well, our guns are made of plastic. You can't take them." You're like, "But your helicopters aren't."
Yeah, he just smiles like, "Y'all fools."
For him to have the opportunity to basically fall back into his old ways and be like, "Y'all are not going to take me because I'm more powerful than you." He's like, "You know what? If you all think that I deserve to be placed on trial, lock me up." And so he lets them take him. And then not only that, but we get the executioner comes in and he's trying to take the mutants out. The Friends of Humanity incites this riot, and Storm loses her power because she sacrifices herself for Magneto because he was aiming at Magneto to get shot. And he takes, and this is such a beautiful scene. Magneto is infuriated. He is incensed. He is, because he referred to Storm just like right before he got taken away. He's like, Storm, you have the powers of a goddess.
Yep.
Like you are
the
just
closest thing to a goddess that we have on this planet.
Exactly.
You can control the weather. Mm-hmm. And I ain't just talking about making it rain like Lil Wayne and Fat Joe. I'm talking about you can make it hurricane. You can make it snow,
can we
lightning.
Talk about
her scene when she walked in?
Give him the forecast. First of all, coldest line ever. Give him the forecast, and you just see the clouds come in, lightning just striking the sand, glassing the desert, glassing the desert, and then breaking up the glass, making a tornado of a tornado of glass to tear up the Sentinels. And then after she's shredded them up, to have the clouds open up and have that sunlight shine through, and then everything just drop. That was probably the most beautiful scene that I've seen in animation in a long time.
And if I'm on a team, I know I didn't do nothing to piss her off, so she ain't gonna take the opportunity to drop one on me.
Right.
Because, she could have been like, oops, sorry.
Because they really did just kind of drop all around them. And they have that trust in Storm. It's like,
so glad I didn't eat her stuff in the refrigerator, because she could have had that. Like, it wouldn't have been a lot, just like a finger or something that fall on you. Right. Like, come on, Storm. Chill out. I was just playing. I didn't mean to eat your cereal.
But to have someone that powerful, and Magneto respects that power, and to see that gets taken away unjustly, and the emotion that we see, because the only time we ever saw Magneto shed a tear was when he found out that Charles was dying. Right. And now that Storm's gotten her powers taken away, and Magneto takes all the judges up and flies them up into the sky, I'm thinking he's about to launch them into space because he's just that pissed off. But he holds them up there, and he's just basically saying, look at the planet. Look at how small everything is. We are so insignificant in the grand scheme of all existence. And yet you people choose to use that time to hate us. When our lifespan is just a blink in the greater timeline of just, all of existence. And he said that had I, he would have, if he, in his former self, he would have decimated everything. But he said,
until the execution, I could just squish you right now.
Right. Because I forgot he had him like pinned up against the plaque or whatever it was. But no, just for him to say that, I am trying to be better. I am trying to give you all a chance. And for him to say, don't let me disappoint you.
Don't let me. How do you say it? It was a clever play on words. You say, don't let me let you down, or something like that. Yeah, that's what he said. Don't let me let you down. It's like a threat. Like, I could drop you right now. So don't let me let you down. I think it's like, I'm trying to be better.
Yeah, don't make me let you down, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better for my friend, in the sense. I'm misquoted. Tell me in the comments. But he's like, I'm trying to be better in the sense, please don't let me let you down.
Right.
Because again, the play of words, to me, everything Charles owned, he has left to me.
Right.
My X-Men. Oh, it was cold.
Yeah.
But Scott saying to me, my X-Men, like, I'm feeling myself, I'm in charge, only to have that challenge and then ultimately taken away. Because the truth of the matter is, none of them can beat Magneto.
No.
Altogether, they couldn't beat Magneto. So even if you're going to cooperate now and try to wait for a time that you can take over, is your best bet to fall in line.
Yeah.
And the only one that possibly could is no one, because the Rogue can touch him without draining his powers, which magnetism?
I mean, I'm sure that might have something to do with it.
Maybe
with
he's
the way
putting up,
he's
maybe
able,
he's barricade like a force field around himself.
yeah, like a microscopic magnetic field around his skin.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe.
Either way it goes, Remy don't like that.
No,
Gambit is back. But again, you watched all 5 seasons.
Another thing, and we kind of keep going back to this about why X-Men is being woke, because Gambit was in the kitchen making beignets.
With his crop top on?
Yeah, and he had on a crop top. Not only did he have a crop top, it was a pink crop top.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know, that's another thing that they say that X-Men is being woke. And it's like, do you understand what the 90s were?
Right.
Because Will Smith wore a crop top in Fresh Prince.
Yeah, he did.
There's been a lot of men that have worn crop tops.
And fanny packs.
A lot of fluorescent colors. You know,
it's the 90s.
Lime green, neon orange,
it's
hot
the 90s.
pink.
The 80s was before the 90s, and sometimes fashion loops.
It's cyclical. But
yes,
you know, I digress. But
no, Spider, you're too woke right now. I need you to go back to sleep.
Yeah, maybe. I guess I don't know.
Just all you gotta do is do a little read. Don't just read the headlines. Like, go into a little more research before you start throwing out terms like, "Oh, it's so woke."
Yeah,
like reference the source material. Then you can clearly say how it's changed, because Gambit couldn't connect with Rogue in the 5 seasons. There was a little betrayal then.
Yeah,
he's been in love with her.
Oh, and almost from the beginning of the first season, he's been in love with her.
You just kind of want them to be together, but they can't. Toll takes a toll.
Yeah. And
you can see it even afterwards. He started to get kind of snippy with Magneto.
Right. And the thing about it is, like, we left the end of episode 2 just to say that we're 2 episodes into a 10-episode season.
Yeah.
Everything is in shambles right now. Storm has lost her powers.
She left. Yep. Gone.
Jean and Scott were talking about leaving.
Until the big twist.
It wasn't until, you know, Magneto showing up and taking command of the X-Men that kind of forced Scott to stay. But now the baby came early.
And but they were leaving again. They were leaving.
They were getting ready to leave again. And here we
then Jean said she wasn't leaving because Storm was in despair.
Yeah.
But then Storm left. So I guess they were leaving. But then Jean shows up.
Right.
Yes, I said Jean.
Because
which is so cool, because again they stayed true to the storyline
of their son. Yeah.
And even though we didn't think that they would go that way, but we kind of got hints that way, because Cable was being born. They were saying our son name was going to be Nathaniel. We all know that's Cable. I mean,
right.
For those who don't know, I just told you. Now you do know. But at the same time, it was like, oh, well, they're just taking liberties to tell the story in a different way. Maybe they'll just have Storm and Jean be the parents. Okay. But then to get the twist that they stayed true to the storyline, like, oh,
right.
It's only a matter of time before Mr. Sinister shows up. I mean, he's in the
title. And the theme.
Yeah, opening theme.
Yeah. But yeah, all the way back to the first time we met Cable in the original series, Scott was about to go after him and take him out, and Jean stopped him because she detected that this is their child.
Well, not their child.
Well, not their child, but to her, what she saw,
the father passes the X gene on.
Well, it's not just that, but she saw that it's Scott and Jean's child.
Sure.
Because I mean, you look at it as a glance, of course. For those of you who don't know, there's Nathan Summers is the child of Scott Summers and a Jean Grey clone
And
named
a
Madeline
Jean Grey
Pryor.
clone. Right.
And so if she's
How you
just
know?
looking at glimpses into Cable's past, she'll see Scott until she'll see Jean. She didn't look that deep to see if that was really her. She just know that she saw herself.
Makes sense telepathically.
Yeah.
Psychically.
But yeah, so it's like it's 2 episodes in and all of this stuff has happened already. And it's like, really, where do we go from here? And
So
like you
many
said, we're
places.
getting Cable, we're gonna get Mr. Sinister. We don't know if we're gonna get Stryker, or we don't know what's gonna happen. We might go back to the whole
Jubilee
Weapon
has
X
a
thing.
love interest.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so Nico's gonna come back. Sunspot, he has control over like sunlight and sunshine powers.
Yeah, he's a solar guy.
Yeah.
Seen
Also
nothing
rich.
besides making his hand glow, his arm glow. That made me say, "Ooh, your arm can glow." But how crazy is this? You're okay. So the Brotherhood of Mutants are now, instead of the Brotherhood, the Friends of Humanity are after a mutant. They're gonna torture him. They're gonna see what he could do. They want to strip him off. I have a theory for you too.
Mm-hmm.
I have a theory for you at the end of this because it's in the same universe, mutants, X-Men. But you go to the school, Xavier School of Gifted Youngsters. The first thing they do is throw you in the danger room. What the Spider? What? What is that?
Yeah.
This is the danger room. Like, it's not real. Like, it is real. And Wolverine's there.
Wolverine is definitely real. But for him to like just put his claws around him.
And did you see the shock in all this kid's face? Like, oh my
yeah,
God.
He was like, oh shit.
This is real. What is happening right now?
Yeah, that was a choice from Jubilee to bring him to the danger room.
I don't want to visit the school of the gifted youngsters. The first thing you do is take me in the danger room just so you can see what I can do. Like, you could have just asked.
Right.
Dude. I mean, he didn't want to tell, but at the same time, respect my choices.
Exactly.
Oh, we got ways of making you talk.
Right. I'm gonna stick the Wolverine on your ass.
That's crazy. But yeah, it's picking up right where it left off. Magneto is now in charge of the X-Men. Nobody could really dethrone him. They even showed in the title sequence for the second episode how Scott was the first one, obviously the leader of the X-Men, is now being replaced with Magneto.
Yeah.
And he's taking 2 gurneys and making an X versus, the old way. Like, everything's different but the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's expanded on. And why didn't the X-Men find some place for the Morlocks in the sewer? Especially if Storm was the leader then. Like, did Professor Xavier be like, you can't bring them mutant-ass mutants in here?
Well, no, they did offer to bring him to the
wanted
mansion, but they declined. And
They
that's
did
why
want to stay.
Storm was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be up there, so I
Right,
can't
I ain't
lead
about to
y'all
live
while I'm
down
up there.
here.
So you can take my place.
Baby,
and you can
I look too
behave
good
as
to be in the
leader.
sewers. Okay, I can't play the sewer. I was down here for too
Look,
long. This 80s hair.
This grunginess is not gonna mesh with my white uniform, so I'm gonna be up there. Y'all can handle it.
I'll do one for you. I'll make it rain over there so y'all get some fresh water. That's all I could do for you. Open up the ground, get you some dirt, y'all grow something, get you a little sunlight every now and then. But other than that, bye. Spider-Man saves Spider-Man 3. Later, chumps. See you, chumps.
But she did eventually end up relinquishing her leadership of the Morlocks back to I can't remember her name, but back to
because you're not coming down. You're not coming down now.
Yeah,
you're not coming visit. Like, hey, we need some more stuff. Look, y'all getting on my nerves now.
Like,
if
if it wasn't for Lady Deathstrike showing up and wanting to unleash the Soul Eater out of that spaceship, Wolverine wouldn't have been back down there either.
Hey, man, that's a lot of responsibility. They got a lot of mutants down there in the sewers. Magneto did the right thing by letting them go to Genosha. And one thing you got to say about Magneto, he's consistent. Like, he's really trying to find a safe haven for mutants to exist, whether it be Asteroid M or taking over Genosha. having Genosha now from successful talks with the nation of whatever they're being called.
Yeah.
Genosha now being incorporated into the nations of nations.
Mm-hmm.
I say, like he's making strides.
Right.
Way more than Professor X did
This is very true.
in a short amount of time.
Like I've been here for 2 days and I'm already making shit happen.
Sometimes you gotta hold your audience attention.
Right.
But
he ain't
he's
heard
not
about
doing. He didn't kill anyone. He did. He had rights to, because again, you shot somebody that I really respected and admired and took away her abilities. I could have just, like, all that metal you had on could have just aluminum foil that shit.
Right.
With you in it.
Just crumple you up.
With you in it and just go on about my day. Because again, they can't oppose him.
Right.
He has the power to change gravity, like magnetism. Just what you want, dude? Like, I'm not even trying to. I can't shoot you. And don't get me wrong. Listen, if we were humanity in a world full of mutants, I don't think that we would feel any different. That's
No,
the one thing
absolutely
about.
not.
That's the one thing about this story, this show, this whole version or vision of this story. It's so based on what could actually really happen if there was people that had the abilities to walk through walls or use telekinesis or use telepathic abilities, or just the long list of abilities that humans would have. Because again, there are good mutants and there are bad mutants.
Right.
There's nothing to say which. There's not. I can wake up and be able to shoot fireballs out my hand and have to make the choice of who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Everything still applies. Still need a job. Still need shelter. Still need food. It's even worse if I look disfigured.
Right.
Because I still need those things, but now I have to come out at night when the population is more in their house and try to fend for what I need for me and my other mutant-looking friends that's, disfigured.
Right.
Instead of having a place that accepts me and allows me to be good. But I can look like a superstar and still have the ability to shoot fireballs out my hand, but yet and still I want more than what I have, and I'm going to take it because you can't stop me, because you can't shoot fireballs out your hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's a conflict. That's a great landscape to be able to tell a story with, and you have a whole plethora of people in between. X-Men 97. There's so much stuff that we didn't talk about, Spider. I know we can probably continue the conversation, as we should, because it's our show. As we should, because it's our show. Because we really didn't spoil anything at all.
I mean, we did talk about some stuff. I mean, like with Storm losing the powers. If you didn't watch the episode, then that's a pretty big spoiler.
No, it ain't. She lost it in she lost it 5 seasons.
Yeah,
ago.
but you didn't know she was gonna lose them again.
Sometimes you gotta lose stuff twice, man. You got, make you appreciate it that much more.
You need to put an Apple tag on her powers so she can make sure she can find them.
Turn on location.
Pull out the phone. Like, oh, there they go. Maybe that's why she took the bus. That's where she was going. She's gonna find them.
Listen, you used to flying all this time. I know that had to be heartfelt. When she said she couldn't feel the breeze.
That hurt. That hurt so much.
What did you do to me? And then you see Magneto drop that only you could prevent forest fires, caveman like tear. That one solitary tear. Stop littering for the Indian chief. I'm like, yo, y'all about to die. We about to see X-Men 97 commit murder. Right now. They about to launch them in space.
It's a new era.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he launched them in space and still kept like a magnetic field over them.
That would have really kind of changed the aspect of saying this is how insignificant you are. Like he just took them above the city. Huh? He ain't taking them above the whole country.
Well, he was high.
They were high.
They're in the upper atmosphere.
They can see like the tri-state area.
Please don't let me let you down. So what's to come? Like you said, Mr. Sinister's to come.
Yeah.
Let me get this theory out here.
Okay.
right here, right now, since we're talking about what's to come. There's a theory, Spider. I don't know if you heard it. There's a theory that Deadpool, who is in the X-Men universe, in the Fox universe, or no longer Fox, in the Marvel universe, his movies, Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, takes place in the X-Men timeline. Reasoning why is because in Deadpool 1, Francis Ajax is making super soldiers.
Right.
But they immediately ship them off to fight in some war as soldiers. In part 2, which again, X1, they're unlocking your mutant gene inside of you,
right,
to try to get it to manifest to become super soldiers. So they're not taking mutants, but they're making them mutates. But in Deadpool 2, you can easily see that there are inhibitor collars. Without an explanation of the inhibitor collars, where they come from or how did it happen, and they're now superhuman or and mutant facilities to police mutants. There's also a school for mutants, which is the school that Russell is at, where
wasn't that
they're
an orphanage?
still have mutants there.
True.
So they're saying Deadpool's universe is in the same universe as the X-Men, which is why he can easily go and talk to Colossus, and Colossus was trying to recruit him to the X-Men multiple times when, he tells, I already told you I don't want to join you.
Super secret boy band.
Yeah, that one. But this is a future, which is why there were no X-Men in the mansion.
Well, there were.
Well, the first one they weren't, but the second one.
Yeah, we did get the cameo of Professor X and Beast and Nightcrawler and Storm. Yeah, all of the people from First Class. Well, not from First Class, from Apocalypse.
Days of. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because remember, Days of Future Past was, they ended that with retconning the original X-Men trilogy, but after Apocalypse, that's when we got Jean and
Beast,
Cyclops. Well, I mean, we already had Beast. Beast was there since First Class, so that's when we got Nightcrawler and Cyclops and Jean and Storm.
So you've heard of this theory, or you haven't heard of this theory?
Well, not in
futuristic. Deadpool is set in a futuristic X-Men timeline. Is the theory?
Not in the way that you're explaining it.
Of course, I explained it all kind of crisscross, backwards, and inside out.
No, I mean
straightforward lines over here.
As as him
made an X
being, like you said, with him associating with Cyclops and I'm not Cyclops, with Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and him making a joke about in X1 when Colossus is dragging him by his hand, like, I'm going to take you to see the professor, and he's like, which one, Stewart or McAvoy? Right. So I think it was to be understood that because this is the only other superhero movie not titled X-Men to feature and reference X-Men.
Yeah.
Then I would say that it's within the same universe. But like you said, as far as timelines are concerned, and then at the end of X2, him going back and retconning, the whole Deadpool creation in X-Men Origins.
Yeah, Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said X.
Oh, I'm sorry, not X2. Yeah,
no,
Deadpool 2.
I just don't want to confuse the people that say he said X2.
Look, if they get hung up on every single error that we make, then
We wouldn't have a show.
we would get inflamed in the comments religiously.
Hmm.
But yeah, so no, I firmly believe
Never.
that all of their universes are connected, and now with Disney's acquisition of Fox, and now with Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine merging the universes between the Fox universe and
The MCU.
in the MCU, you know, it's all gonna come together.
It's sort of like poetry. They all come together. It's quoting George Lucas inaccurately, so we don't get sued.
Was it a George Lucas quote?
He says something differently.
Okay.
It's sort of like poetry. It all comes together.
But let us know what you thought about the first two episodes.
So much we didn't talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot.
If y'all haven't picked up the hints that we've been putting down thus far, because we're not answering until the season's over. We have that much integrity now that we give you guys a full. Even though I think it's starting off pretty good.
Oh yeah, they started off on a real high note.
It's just a start.
Yeah.
We've seen them fumble it so many times. So we're reserving the right to let you know if it's super or not until the season's over. Well, how you want to do it, Spider? You want to come back at the end? You want to come back at the mid? How you want to do it?
Because I don't think there's gonna be like a break like what Invincible did.
Or Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because that's the coward's way out. They had already agreed to do 10 episodes versus the 24 episodes that they normally do. But now you want us to take a break too? This is a different cloth, okay? They don't do stuff like these guys now. Mid-season breaks and nonsense like that. They give you that gusto.
Yeah, back to back. But yeah, let's come back at the end. We'll come back at the end and we'll recap X-Men 97 as a season, and we'll talk about whether or not we think it's super.
Is it? We'll see.
No. We shall see.
There's a lot of stuff going on that we ain't even discussed.
And I mean, even with, you know, unlike other series, they kind of reserve their episode details until the episode is getting ready to come out. With X-Men 97, you go on IMDb, you get the title. Well, I mean, they already released the title of every episode when they're in a promotional art, which another thing that I love about what they've done with X-Men 97 and just all the promotional art with the VHS tape collections and the, you know, the posters and everything, making it look like an old TV guide issue.
What are you referring to?
You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't seen any. Do you have any of that up? Do you have reference to any of that?
I can pull it up.
Guess what? For our audience that watching, this is a all things super exclusive that we're doing. No, we've done this before. I take that back.
I'm pretty sure we have.
God damn it. We got to find new ways to be cutting edge.
I mean, I can show you. I won't be able to show them.
Oh, well, then they can't look then.
Yeah.
I'll let y'all know if it's something that you want to Google.
Or let me see. As a matter of fact,
here we go.
This is something that we have not done before.
See that? Cutting edge, baby. Y'all keep coming here for some reason, and we gonna let y'all.
Audio listeners, I do apologize. This is more visual based.
So you know what I'm gonna do? Whisper. To make you come over to the side where you can see. Unless you can't see, then I'm sorry.
So
but I still love you.
Yeah. So if we do that, and this is gonna be all scuffed on the video.
Real time.
Yeah, it's gonna be all jacked up.
Well,
but
you might just be lowering your standards and expectations before y'all say all things super done went woke now.
But
there we go.
Yeah. So like I said, the whole VHS thing, this was part of the promotional. That. And
That's cool.
I want to
That's
see.
retro. I like how they incorporated Bishop and now he has an up to date haircut and everything.
Yeah. And so this is like the TV
That
Guide,
looked like a TV
Disney
guy.
Adventures magazine, and
Yeah.
so we have the episode titles for every single episode.
You know what? I take that back when I said that they unsexualized the characters because they drew them kind of curvy. All right.
I don't think
All right.
they were going to take all of that away, but I mean they did kind of flatten Rogue out a little bit.
They had to. Kids watch this show.
I mean kids watched it before.
And look how we turned out.
It's also very true.
Got to have a better future. There's Rule 34 for those who know.
Look,
For those who know.
yeah, but
Don't type
yeah.
that into Google. Don't type that.
Look, safe search, incognito.
No.
Incognito window.
Spider, we're gonna get canceled.
But no, so there's descriptions for all of the episodes on IMDb, and I'm pretty sure on the Wikipedia page they have plot synopses for all of the episodes that go along with all of the titles.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to, like I said, they started out really on a high note to come back to something that has been so dear and enduring to our heart, not just visually, but storyline wise, to have it to come to the level that it's come to. It's intriguing. I want to watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I would have watched it even if we didn't review it. So it's beautiful when work and play comes together. It just makes it a more enjoyable thing. But this is more like play and play. But I gotta say work for those who think that we don't work enough.
And I know that, of course, I feel like we are in an era of nostalgia because for our generation, for the younger Gen X all the way down to the oldest
We're
Gen
not at
Z.
Z yet. Oh yeah, okay. Z. What? Should we? Are we at A again?
Gen Alpha are your middle school to high, like freshman sophomore year right now. I don't know
Okay.
what the like babies now. I don't know what generation they're part of. I don't think they're alpha.
Beta.
I
Just,
haven't heard the term
just,
Gen Beta be used yet, but I guess if
just
they're going in
going down the
succession, that would
alphabet.
be the next logical
Yeah,
thing. But
gotcha.
as far as the people who are in control of the creative projects that are coming out these days, that's where we have, like I said, from the young Gen X to the oldest of Gen Z. That's like the major market demographic. That's your core audience when it comes to most things. These are the people who have the buying power. So these are the people that you want to cater to. And so a lot of things there, that's why we're getting so many remakes and so many reboots, is because that group of people are looking for that nostalgia thing of things that they grew up on. And so I firmly believe that X-Men 97 was a big push of, like I said, those groups of people, the creators, the writers, storyboard artists, growing up with the X-Men animated series, the Batman animated series, Spider-Man, all of that other kind of stuff, growing up those 90s kids, and the love that they held for these properties inspired them to pursue these creative occupations. And now that they're in a position to be able to have some sort of say so, they really connect with this audience that, like, I know that there is a group of people who would love to see this stuff. So all that's to say is that I don't want people to feel like, oh, because I didn't grow up with this, that I can't watch it. Because
or that they need to go back and watch all 5 seasons like you did.
They really don't, though.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, you absolutely don't have to go back and watch all 5 seasons.
It'll be good if you did, so you can know who's who when
not
they
even the whole
came.
5 seasons. There's only like really just a handful of episodes that kind of coincide with stuff that's going on in this season, like the Christmas episode. Like the Christmas episode was fun, but you don't necessarily have to watch a Christmas episode to know what's going on in X-Men 97.
No, not at all.
But I mean, if you want to,
Savage Land episode's not that
Oh
important
God.
either.
There's a and I remember because I was watching it. There's an episode, I think in season 2, because I think the Cyberland episodes were in season 2. The title of the episode is called "Whatever It Takes,"
Mm.
and that was the episode where Charles and Magneto really start to get into the fight with the mutates. And the reason I remember this episode so well, this is like one of the things that is like scorched into my memory from even when I was watching as a kid. But there's a scene where Magneto falls from a mountain and he's in a river about to go down a waterfall. And just to kind of show you like the era of animation,
Mm-hmm.
there are still frames of characters where they wouldn't animate them if they didn't necessarily have to move. So, and this is probably just so niche that nobody really even notices it, but it
Oh,
was
I
just something that
noticed.
just stuck out in my memory for whatever reason. But
I
Magneto falls into
noticed.
the river and Charles has to dive in after him, and there's just one scene of Magneto floating down the river. He's still alive, he's still conscious, but he's floating down the river going towards the waterfall. But his character model in the water is just him with his hand up, and he's leaned to the side, and he's just like, and just floating down the river. And I just always thought that was so funny that they just had that still image of him just in the water going down the river. And I don't know, it was ridiculous to me. But like you said, that's an episode that you wouldn't necessarily have to rewatch to understand what's going to be happening in X-Men 97.
Well, it's too late and you done referenced it now, so I know they're gonna have to go back to
Go
see what
find
you
an
were talking
episode,
about.
whatever it takes, and just for that one scene alone.
YouTube it. Yeah. It's on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And for all those who are wondering where my cup was, it's right here.
There you go. Questions answered. But let us know what you thought about the first 2 episodes of X-Men 97. If you're planning to watch the rest of the season, or if you're not planning to watch the rest of the season, if you saw the first 2 episodes,
too woke.
if
It's
you
too
think
woke
that,
for me.
if you think that X-Men 97 is too woke, or just if you don't agree with some of the decisions that they made with the reboot of the
Like
series,
making Wolverine homosexual.
bisexual, maybe.
Ooh,
We don't know.
We don't know. He could be poly.
Could be. We don't know. But let us know what you thought about it. But just remember, if you like this video, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
Leave a comment on any of those platforms. We'll read it. If we like it enough, we might even respond to it. And might even shout you out on the show.
Good shout you out on the show. Let's hear your theories. Let's hear your theories about what's going to happen in X-Men 97. And there are assumptions that this is going to tie into the MCU.
Oh, I hope not. Oh no, just leave it alone.
There are those theories out there. So if you do have theories of how you think that X-Men 97 could tie into the MCU, because they're thinking that, you know, it's going to fall into, because
I know where it's going to fall. It's going to fall with this multiversal crossover.
Because the thing about it is that the prevailing theory is that all of the Fox properties, so you have the X-Men run from X-Men, X2, X3 The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, the Wolverine, Logan, X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men First Class, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix. And then add on top of that Daredevil, Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Okay.
Because Jennifer Garner is rumored to be in Deadpool 3.
She is confirmed to be back.
Oh, she's confirmed to be back in it?
Yeah, she's confirmed.
So, but you have all of these Fox properties that are going to be a part of.
Also, Liv Tyler is confirmed to be back too. So how does that play?
As Betty Ross?
Yeah, but that's for Captain America. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. That's
Deadpool
that's
and Wolverine.
Yeah, but with Deadpool and Wolverine, all of these characters from these X-Men properties are
Pyro's back for sure.
we saw Pyro in the trailer for sure, and so they're all slated to be a part of Deadpool and Wolverine, and so the prevailing theory is that the X-Men animated universe could also possibly be referenced, but I don't know how they would incorporate that.
I think they're saying it because, like you said, at the end of the Marvels, what they did, they had Beast in his lab coat, which he's primarily in his lab coat from the X-Men animated series. They also had a version of Professor Xavier in that famous hover chair in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
The hover chair and the green suit.
So they're kind of insinuating, not to mention in Ms. Marvel, the mutant comic was dropped, and you heard the animated series or a version of the animated series theme.
Yeah, you heard it in Doctor Strange too.
So you're thinking that those are the live versions of the universe.
Right.
I hope not. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
Could that means
that means Monica went to the whatever Doctor Strange was in.
838.
838. That professor is alive though, but we're not sure at what point in time is it. You see, it starts to bring up so many questions, Spider.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I feel like with the, because they didn't call it the Illuminati.
In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, they did.
Did they?
They did. Yeah.
Okay,
the Illuminati will see you now.
So with the Illuminati, we don't know if these are heroes that originated from that universe. They could have been a mixture of variants from multiple universes.
They cannot be a mixture of variants or universes because if you step out of your universe and come to a universe that is not outside of the universe,
well, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that they reside in that universe that they live, but to come together for a council.
The fact that Strange was there destabilized the universe and can cause an incursion. So they're not supposed to dream walk. They're not supposed to go outside of the universe unless you're going into a pocket dimension like the Void, or if you're going to the nexus of all realities, somewhere that's outside of space and time. You are not allowed. This is the reason why Kane is the Conqueror is destroying the universe, because he keeps stepping into these other universes, and his sheer presence inside of these other universes is causing incursions. He's killing the multiverse by doing what he's doing. So he needed to be stopped, but I guess he's stopped now since Loki 2. But I understand what you're saying. We're going to get to a point there's going to be Avengers versus X-Men because it's a huge thing in the comics, and Kevin's not outside of comic knowledge. He knows that that's going to be a huge thing in cinema. We got the X-Men back. Everybody wanted them to have the X-Men back. They didn't care about anything else other than Fox. Like Fox is going to lose the Simpsons and all this other stuff. They don't care because we want the X-Men. And now we got them. And now we're going to get Avengers versus X-Men. And then after that, then we'll get Battle World and yada, yada, yada. But as far as this, X-Men 97, leave it alone. Let it tell its own story, because it's like you're going to have to retcon stuff to try to make it fit that narrative instead of letting it be a standalone thing, because all the pieces won't fit. And it's okay. We're okay with everything not being connected. Everything doesn't have to be connected. There's stories outside of the connectivity.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think they're going to bring the MCU into X-Men 97, but I think that X-Men 97 might be referenced in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Kevin, tell Bree to call me.
Well, we'll see what happens with the rest of the season for X-Men 97, as well as Deadpool and Wolverine when that comes out. But until then, thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate all the love and all the support. We will see you in the next episode. But until we do, just remember, keep being super.
And eat your vegetables.